Hello, everybody. Let me tell you a story. The Israelites were taken into exile. They were taken into exile into Babylon, a nation that had taken over much of the known world. They were the empire at the time, they were the most powerful nation at the time. And they took some people into captivity. Significant of those people were Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Those were names not given by their mothers, but they were given by their new king, Nebuchadnezzar, who renamed them because they were now his. Or so he thought. Now, we'll talk about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego specifically, but today we're going to talk about Daniel. Daniel was appointed to be part of the king's household. But Daniel resolved that he would not defile himself with the royal rations of food and wine that the king gave out. So he asked the palace master to allow him not to defile himself. Now God allowed Daniel to receive favor and compassion from the palace master. The palace master said to Daniel, "I am afraid of my lord the king. He has appointed you your food and your drink. If he should see you in poorer condition than the other young men of your own age, you would endanger my head with the king." Then Daniel asked the guard, whom the palace master had appointed over Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, their birth names, "Please test your servants for 10 days. Let us be given vegetables to eat and water to drink. You can then compare our appearance with the appearance of the young men who eat the royal rations and deal with your servants according to what you observe." So he agreed to this proposal and tested them for 10 days. At the end of 10 days, it was observed that they appeared better and fatter than all the young men who had been eating the royal rations. So the guard continued to withdraw their royal rations and the wine they were to drink and gave them vegetables. To these 4 young men, God gave knowledge and skill in every aspect of literature and wisdom. Daniel also had the insight into all visions and dreams. I share that story with you today, not to encourage you to start eating vegetables and drinking water, though you should do that, but to tell you about Daniel and his dedication to God. You see, he wasn't going to give in to just becoming the king's man. The king didn't have ownership over him. He didn't have ownership over Daniel's heart. He didn't have ownership over Daniel's body. God had reign over those things. And so the food and the wine that were served by the king, those were the things dedicated to a king who was not Daniel's king. God was Daniel's king. It was likely dedicated to gods of Nebuchadnezzar, of a king who wasn't Daniel's king, and gods who were not Daniel's God. God, Yahweh, the one who had freed his people from Egypt, that was Daniel's God. He was the sovereign Lord over his life. And so he chose to do the things that would not nourish him or not strengthen him in their own right, but to take in things that the other people thought of as a lesser means of life, a lesser way to live, a lesser provisions. And he was stronger for it. I think for us, there are a lot of things that are dedicated to the world and not to the kingdom, dedicated to authorities and to powers that are not our God and not our salvation. Things like lying and stealing. I've heard it once said that people lie and they steal because it solves problems. You don't want people to be mad at you, you lie. You don't want confrontation, you lie. You want the things you want, you steal. You want to only care about those things, you covet. You want to have the relationships that you want and the pleasures that you want, you commit adultery. You want to get back, you commit violence. You want what you want, you do what you need to do. Yet those are lesser things. Those are things that are dedicated to other powers that are not our God, other ways that are not the ways of the kingdom or of Jesus. And so let's live life dedicated to the things that the world thinks is lesser. Let's take on the hard business of confrontation, because that means we got to tell the truth to one another. Not confrontation in a violent way or in a heartless way, but telling the truth in love to one another, listening to one another, spending time wrestling with things and having our minds changed. That's hard stuff. That's stuff that it takes a lot of time and a lot of dedication. And giving way in our opinions and conceding a little bit and listening to people who a lot of people might not think are worth listening to. That's seen as maybe weaker in the eyes of this world of division and of having our opinions right and being right all the time and being just sticking to our guns and shaming others when they're wrong. Love might seem like weakness, but if it is weakness, give me weakness and I will be stronger. Give us those things that you think are not going to nourish us, and they will nourish us because we are dedicated to a God who knows where our life is at and knows what can give us life and knows what's not necessary. And what's actually detrimental to life is these things that are dedicated to other powers and other kings. So give me loving my enemies, even though it's hard. Give me forgiving people who have done wrong to me, even though it's hard. Give me reading and wrestling with scriptures I do not understand. Give me praying to a God that is there, even though I cannot feel it sometimes. Give me loving my neighbor as myself. Give me those things that might be perceived as hard and as difficult and as a rougher road. But I will come out on the other side stronger, not in my own strength, but stronger in faithfulness, stronger in love, stronger in righteousness, and in dedication to God. Give me the love of Jesus and lead me to the cross. And it may be the death of me, but resurrection is on the other side. Give me the way of Jesus, even when it's hard, and I will be the stronger for it. I hope you choose the same. I hope you choose the way of Jesus in the good times and in the bad, when you feel like it and when you don't, when you feel the strain and the weight on your shoulders, and when you really can testify that you feel like God has taken the burden off in every situation. Choose life, choose love, choose righteousness, and you will be the stronger for it. Not stronger above one another, not stronger in your own self, but the grace of God will make you stronger in faith and will sustain you and give you life and life abundant. Live for Jesus, and you will have life, and you will be saved, and you will be righteous and holy, because God will be in it. Go in his grace and peace today, and have a blessed day.